Good morning. Welcome to Waimarama International, a place of clarity and a time of enlightenment. I'm Manu, and I welcome you to this space. This morning I am aware of the lack of awareness and my lack of awareness of just the tiniest things that impact. The lack of awareness around my consciousness. As teachers, as parents, as healers, as people in our communities, social workers, all those important jobs, probation officers, program facilitators, all of you who have the opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. How conscious are we? How conscious are we of our own little bits of lack of consciousness? And I would say that covers most of us, that we are not aware of what it is that we are not conscious of, simply because it hasn't come up. And when it does come up, what do we do about it? Do we address it? Do we ask ourselves why? Do we feel like this? Do we look in the mirror and say, this belongs with me? Or do we put it on someone else? Do we look to someone to blame them for the way that we are feeling? For the way that we are feeling because somebody has told us the truth about something. And I would suspect that because of our conditioning through social consciousness, we will try and put that on someone else. Yet if we are truly conscious, if we are truly connected to our soul consciousness, to our spirit consciousness, to not so much our emotional consciousness, to our mind consciousness, then we would answer those questions really honestly. We would see that there is something that needs to be attended to, that needs to be forgiven, that needs to be looked at in a greater way, in greater detail. That you and I, at that point, must and need to take responsibility for the way that we are feeling. It is not anybody else's responsibility, nor is it their fault. The whole purpose of them being in your sphere of being is to bring up all things that are unlike your real self, all things that need dealing to and loving out of your past. That is not to say we're going to do them have to deal with it on a daily basis, but as they arise, and as they arise, we must consciously be aware that it is our responsibility to deal with that feeling. There is nothing worse than being on the receiving end of somebody's loathing and petulance and disdain and just not very good behaviour, because you or they have not taken into account that this is actually your responsibility to deal with. Not your partner, not your children, not your manager. If we are truly honest, not if, when we are truly in the present moment, where we can affect change. And we can ask ourselves, what is it that I need to do to get rid of that feeling? When you have come to the present moment, when you are in that present moment, you'll find you've already dealt with it. Because all of it belongs in the past. Tato mai, it's time to take responsibility. Those of us who are teachers, healers, probation officers, social workers, public and private sector workers, those who deal in everyday life, those nans who take care of the children, those koros who look after their morbiners. We've all been charged with a great job, and that great job is to find you, to remember who you are, to be the most magnificent person. And you're not going to do that by blaming somebody else for feeling a bit crappy today. You're not going to find that if you're constantly living in the past. You are not going to find that if you never acknowledge that you've got a past. Tato mai, take responsibility. Look at why we're feeling a bit anxious. Look at why we're feeling a little bit angry today. Forgive yourself. It's not got anything to do with anyone else. It is up to you to make that change. It is up to you to make those changes in your relationships, especially and in particular the relationship that you have with yourself. Be warm of heart. Be well of mind and be wonderful of spirit. Have a fabulous day. This is Manu from Waimarama International, a place of clarity in a time of enlightenment. Ngā mihi.